Hello, welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to talk about JSP action tag. Now, the question comes in mind, what is an action tag? So, action tags are like a custom tag which is provided by the JSP specification. So, JSP specification already designed or already specified some of the tags, and that tags are useful in some of the scenarios. So, why that custom tag is important? Let's think in this way. Uh, let's imagine I am a programmer, so I can understand all the nitty gritty detail about programming, but mostly designers are non-programmer person. They cannot understand uh, programming aspects like how to connect with the database, how to fetch information from a file, etc. So to and if at some point of time in the designing at some point of time we require to suppose to interact with the database and then show it on a web page, the results should be shown on the web page, then obviously we need to establish the connection with the database, we need to fetch the record, we need to have process the result set, and then we show it on the web page. So those all those steps should be can be easily performed by a programmer but cannot be performed by a non-programmer person like designers. So how the designer can do this kind of stuff? So designers are pretty much familiar with the tags, and that is why if we are able to design such kind of tag, then the programmer can also use those things very easily. So that's it. That is why the tags are important, and custom tags are obviously important because HTML is not giving uh, such kind of facility. So we can design our own tag for a specific purpose, and that tags can be used by a non-programmer purpose for designing to at designing end. So that is why the tags are important. Custom tags are important. So in this session, I will talk about various action tags already given by the JSP. So let's see what are the action tags available. I'm not saying this is the complete list, but these are the few which I am going to discuss in this session. So first of all, one thing should be very clear, that all the action tags are started with a keyword called JSP. Normally, this startup things are called prefix, and this is called the tag name, basically the second part, or you can say the suffix also. So basically a tag name is basically divided into two parts. First part is the prefix, and then the second part is suffix, and prefix and suffix are separated by the JSP, the colon. So the complete tag name is prefix colon suffix. That is basically the complete tag name. So here some of the JSP action tags are JSP include, JSP use bean, JSP set property, JSP get property, and JSP forward. There are other tags also available, but we will focus on these tags. So let's start with the JSP include, and I will make you understand all this concept through programming. So let's create a project here, new dynamic web project, and the project name is action tags. Okay, now I'm going to create new JSP file, and the file name is index.jsp. Okay, so first example, first tag which I'm going to discuss is JSP include. Now, so what is JSP include? The JSP include tag basically include the output of a specified page, output of the specified page. Now let's see what is the meaning of that statement. So I have this index.jsp page, and also I have another page. Let me create another JSP file. That JSP file is suppose inc.jsp. Okay, and in this particular page I'm not going to write the whole set of HTML stuff. I will just write a small what you can say, the small HTML and Java code. Now what I'm going to do here, first of all, let me write a small snippet, a small code, that is hello from included file. And in the index.jsp, what I'm going to do, I just want to include this page into this current page. So let's see what happens if we do that. How to do that? First, JSP include, and the page which I want to include is inc.jsp. So this is how I'm going to use this tag. Let's run this, and let me set the title also, action tag example. Okay, so let's see what is the output of this particular JSP include. So run this, run the server. Yes. Okay, so nice. This output, whatever be the output of this page, whatever be the content of the page, is actually included in this current JSP page, and that is why we are able to see this output, right? Okay, now the question comes in mind, the same thing is also done by the include directive. Already we have the include directive. So if we use the include directive, then what will happen? Let us see. So I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to use the include directive right now, and the file name is inc.jsp. So let's see what happens if we use this include directive. Let me stop the server and rerunning this application. Okay, the output is same. Then the question comes, what is the difference between that two? So let's analyze that fact. What is the difference between that two? Yes, one thing I want to talk here is, in the include directive, the content of this file is copied into the current file, while in JSP include, the output of that file is uh, included in the current file. So what is the meaning of that two statements? Let's analyze it. So first of all, I want to analyze the include directive in that perspective. So here I am going to define one of the variable int check equal to 100. So the value of check is obviously the 100, and in the include .jsp page, I'm just going to print out that check variable. Now, is it possible? Is it syntactically correct? The answer may be yes, or the answer may be no. So let's analyze in which condition this is the answer is yes, and in which condition the answer is no. But if you look at the code itself says that in this inc.jsp page, obviously there is no variable defined called check. So if the variable is not defined here, then how we can able to print it, right? So that is the problem we can face. But let's see what happens if we do this stuff in case of include directive and in case of include action tag. So first of all, let's see what happens in the include directive. So run this application. Yep, I'm getting the answer, right? It is printing the value 100. Why this is so? Practically, what happens if we use this include directive? Actually, the include directive fetch out the content of the file. So what is the content of the file? The content of the file is this one. So this particular thing will be copied here. So instead of this include directive, the include directive is no longer available after compilation. It will be converted like this. So now it is simple. If it is converted like this, then obviously the check variable is already defined here, and that is why the output is 100, which we have seen here, right? Now let's analyze the same thing with respect to include action tag. So we are gonna write JSP include, and then I'm saying inc.jsp, right? The content is same, and let's see what happens if we write this kind of code here. Okay, so it is the output is like an error. Now why it is an error? It is saying that unable to compile class for the JSP. That means when the page compiler is trying to convert the JSP into the class, then it is getting problem. Now in which file it is getting the problem? The file it is getting problem like inc.jsp. Now why it is not able to compile? Just because it is not able to resolve the variable check here, and that is quite obvious. If I simply try to convert this this JSP into the class, obviously there will be a problem because the check variable is not defined here, right? That is why the page compiler is getting error in while compiling. Now in the previous case, when I am using JSP where I'm using include directive, then why this condition doesn't arise? The reason is, at that time this inc.jsp file is actually not converted into the class. Why? Because the include directive actually want the content of the file. So the paste directive only copy the content of the file to the current file. That's why that file is not, means the included file is not required to convert it into the class, only the content is copied here. Now when while we are using this JSP include, what it demands, it doesn't demand the content, it demands the output of that particular page. So whatever be the output, that we are gonna include here. So to convert it into the output, obviously this particular file need to be converted into the sublet class or class. So if the page compiler is going to convert this whole thing into the class, obviously there will be a problem because this check variable is undefined. Now if we are able to define the check variable here, int check equal to 50, then obviously there is no problem because the page compiler can convert this into the class, and if it is able to convert it into the class, then the output will be hello from included file, where the check value is obviously 50. So let's see that whether we are getting that thing or not. Right? So that is what we are expecting and we are getting. So output, that means whatever be the output of this page will be included there. So to get the output, this page should be compiled successfully into the class, and that class can give you the output. So to get the output, this particular page should be converted into the class, and that is why, and that is what expected here in case of JSP include. But in case of include directive, only the content is required, so no need to convert the page into the class, right? So that is the practical difference between these two directive and this include action tag. Okay. So the action tag, let's do, okay, fine. Now I'm going to talk about the second important action tag, that is JSP useBean, and this is really important one. So what is that JSP useBean? So first of all, we need to understand what is a bean. So let's create a bean first, and then I will explain you what is a bean. So bean is like a simple Java class. So first of all, we need to create a Java class here. So I'm going to define a package org.bean, and inside this package I'm going to define a class suppose person bean. Now person bean, a bean, normally what is called a bean is a simple class having some of the fields and some of the setter and getter methods. So let's see one example of the bean. Whenever I'm talking about the bean, there are some the specification says all the fields should be private, and there should be there should be a default constructor available in the class. Okay, so that is the requirement. So first of all, I'm going to create private string person name, private int person age, person each, and private string address. So these are called the fields in this particular bean. So these are the fields. Okay, so these are the fields available in this particular bean. Obviously we must have a default constructor. So if you are not able to provide any constructor, then the compiler will give you the default constructor, that is fine, but it is really recommended to put a constructor here. So public person bean, and this is the default constructor. Now with respect to each and every field, there should be some of the getter and setter method. So how to write the getter and setter method? We will go to the source, and then we have the generate getter and setter. Select all and OK. Okay, so now we have all the setter and getter method here available, right? So these are the like setter and getter method. So this is the first one is the getter method. Method corresponding to field person name. Okay, and similarly this is the setter method. So setter method corresponding to field person name, right? So this is what a bean is, but there is one very important concept available in the bean. Now what is the concept? The concept is the property of a bean. So let's talk about property of the bean. Property of the bean. So whenever we are discussing about the property of the bean, first thing we should keep in mind that property is associated with getter or setter method, not associated with field. So that is the first point we need to keep in mind. Property is always associated with the getter and setter method. It has nothing to do with the property. Now the second point, what is the property? So if we have a setter method or the getter method, then how we will get the property? So suppose the setter method is like. Public void set person like. We need to pass a string like, and then we say this dot like equal to like. Okay, so let us say the setter method is like this. In some of the bean, if the setter method is like this, set person like, right? Note it down that the like here, like is a field in the class. So like is the field in the class, and we have a setter method like set person like. In this case, what will be the property and how we will derive the property? So to derive the property, what we need to do, to derive the property, what we need to do, we need to take the set or get method. Okay, so first step, take set or get method. The B step, remove set or get keyword, set or get word basically. So if you do that step, then from the actually take the method name only. We need not to take the whole signature, we need to take the name. So if you perform these two operation in the ever given setter method, what we will get, the name of the method is set person like. Now what we need to do, we need to remove this set word. So what we will get person like. Now after this first two step, then the third step is convert the first letter into small one. So if you do that, then what you will get, we have the person like from the first two steps, and then if we convert the first letter into a small, that is person like. So this person like is my property. So this is a property. Okay. Now if you know the property name, then you do the same reverse operation and you will get the setter and getter method, right? So what you need to do first, whatever be the property name, you take the property name, convert the first letter into the capital one, and then add set and get word there. So then you will get the setter and getter method, right? So this is what the property is. Now it might possible that the property name is same as the name of the field. That might be possible, but the reality is the property is never associated with the field name, right? So in this particular bean, in this person bean, the property is what? The field is this one. What is the property? Property is person name, obviously the same as the field, but that is just a coincidence. There is nothing like that. The property is always same as the field name, right? Okay, so one of the property is person, another property is age, and third one person is, and the third one is address. So that is what the property of this class, okay, of the bean. Now let's talk about the use bean, which we are going to discuss. So use bean, it works in two way. First way, whenever we say use bean, either it will create the object of the bean, or you can say or if the bean is already available, then it will get that object, the object of the bean. So let's do in the first direction. We don't have the bean already created, so what we will do, we will create the bean. So how we will create the bean? JSP use bean. Now one thing we require here is the ID. This is a compulsory attribute available here. So ID I am giving as a P bean, that is a person bean. And then if I want to create the object of the bean, then I need to specify class. So what is the class? The class is org dot bean dot person bean, right? So what happens if we write this whole stuff here? So I'm just gonna explain you what will happen if we write this one. So we already specified the class of the bean, right? So which class, what is the class of the bean we already specified, and second thing we specified as an ID. So what the compiler does here, it takes your ID and it takes the class and convert this whole code into the following one. So the class name is org dot bean dot person bean, right? That is the class we have specified. And what is the ID we have specified, that is p bean equal to new right. So the p bean, the ID is actually a reference variable which is holding the reference of the object of this type, right? So that is what is done here in this step. Now as we know, we have like three properties available in this bean. One is the person name, person age, and third one is the address. So let's set out that things. To set out the property, we need to use JSP colon set property. Now property name we are going to specify as a person name. And what is the name? The name here, to which bean we are going to set the property, and obviously the bean is the p bean, so we are going to specify the p bean here, p bean. Now what is the value we are going to set? So that value we need to specify. So we are going to set person name as, suppose my name Atul, right? Similarly, I am going to set another property. Property name which I am going to set is person age, that is of the p bean, and the value which we are going to set is suppose 32 and JSP property name is address, name equal to pbean, and value is obviously equal to India. Okay, so what happened when we have written this statement? So let's analyze what happened if we have written this whole this was the first set property. So we have already specified the name of the bean, that is pbean. So it will take the pbean here dot, then which property we are going to set, that is the person name. So it will do the reverse operation, that means we are specifying the property and then it will figure out what is the set method. So how setter method. So how it will analyze? First of all, it will capitalize the first letter, that is the person, the P will be capitalized, and since we are setting the property, it will add a set word here, and then what value we are going to pass, that is Atul. So that is gonna pass here, right? So that is what is done by this set property. Similarly, that is done with the this set property, and that is done with this set property. So in this case, what it is going to do, it is going to write this pbean dot set person age, and it is going to pass 32, and in the third case it is gonna write pbean dot set address, and then it is going to pass India. So that is what is done by this whole thing, right? Okay, so this is what done, and let's print out that property. Let's see what will be the result of that property. So the result here, I'm going to write result here is, let's get out all the properties, and so if we are getting out all the properties, then we will see whether the property is already set or not. So how to get the property? JSP colon get property, property name person name, and that we are trying to get from the P bean, and here I am just specifying person name. Page JSP get property, property is person age, and name from where I want to get it, that is PB, and finally address, and that is JSP colon get property property name is address, and we are trying to get it from the PB. Okay, so let's see what is the output here. what it will do. Fine. So the result is the person name is Atul, as we have said it, age 32, and address is the India, right? So that is what the JSP use bean is doing. Yes, obviously. Now, one important thing about the use bean, that the use bean can associate this bean to any scope. So what are the scope available? The scope available is the page. The scope may be the page. So I need to write the comment here. So what is the scope? Scope is either page, request, session, and application. So these are the scopes available: page, request, session, and application. In any scope we can put this bean. So what is the meaning of this page? The page means the only this particular bean can be accessed only on this particular page. So after this page, there is no existence of this particular bean. Okay, so that is what we have done. But let's see what if I put this particular bean into the request request. So what is the request? This particular bean will be stored in the request scope. So let's find out what is the meaning of this statement. But before going to that, what I will do, JSP forward, I will just forward it to the page forward.jsp. So till now we don't have that forward.jsp page, but I want to forward it. And the second thing, okay, basically it will automatically be forwarded on this on that particular page. So fine, let's have the forward.jsp page. So here is the forward.jsp page, new JSP file, and that the name is forward.jsp. Now what I am going to do here, in this page I have created the bean, setting that bean into the request scope, and then I am forwarding the request to this page forward.jsp. Now this particular forward.jsp will not create the object, but it will get the object from the request scope. So how to do that? JSP use bean id, let's suppose my bean, and instead of specifying the class, this time I am going to specify the type. I am not going to specify the class, I am going to specify the type. So what is the type? Still the type is org dot bean dot person, but in this case, and also what I am going to do is I am specifying the scope as a request. So what will happen in this case? if type attribute is used, then useBean is not going to create object, rather it will get the object from a specified scope. Okay, so basically in this case what is done by this JSP use bean, it will find out is there any bean available within the request scope. If yes, then it will convert like this. So it is basically trying to find out is there any bean available in the request scope. If yes, then it is assigned into this myBean variable. So that is what it is done here. Now let's let's print out all the properties which we have set here in the index.jsp. So here is the result. I'm just going to take it and paste it here, and instead of having this pbean, we have the myBean. Okay, so let's run this application again. Okay, just a minute. Line number 14. To specify the pin in here also. Not both. Okay. Just a minute, I'm here keeping one. No. These two cannot be specified at once. Either there will be an ID or an USB, right? So can I have this one? Okay. the pbean again. Oh, yes, okay. So here what we are doing here, we are creating the bean and putting the bean into the request scope, and then we are forwarding it to the forward.jsp page. Now in the forward.jsp page, what I am going to do, I am not specifying the class variable, class attribute, rather I am going to use the type as usual. And what the type variable do, it will not actually create the object, but it will get the object from the request, right? So that is what it is gonna do. But only one minor change here, we are just going to specify the id. So the id is pbean, and it is going to do this here, pbean, right? And then we are going to get the result. So whatever the result we are getting, setting in the index.jsp page, that result is available in the forward.jsp page. So the purpose of the use bean is to, the first, it will create the object, right, and set out the property, and it can get the property also. And second, it will not create the object, but it will get the object from the specified scope. So scope may be 4 scopes are there basically. The scope may be either it is page, or it is request, or it is session, or it is application. So in any scope we can put the bean. So here we are putting it into the request scope. If we want to put it in the session scope, that's also fine. We only need to specify the session here. Now what is this JSP forward does? It actually forward the request, the same request, to the next page, next specified JSP page. So what is the next specified JSP page? That is the forward.jsp. And when the request comes to this particular page, it will get the bean from that request, and then it will print out the result. So that is what the use bean is used. That is where the use bean is used. And the same thing, the forward is also used to forward the request. So we have already seen include, use bean, set property, get property, and the forward, right? So all the things are explained here in this simple example. Okay, so this is all for this particular session. In the next session we will come up with the JSTL basically. That is also a custom tag, but it is not given by the Java specification, JSP specification, but it is prepared by the Apache, and then we can use those custom tags also in our JSP application. Okay, thank you.